Welcome, welcome. I'm Justina Victoria. If you've never checked my stuff out before, typically I do lives over on my Instagram page, which is the.justina.victoria. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm really excited to start consistently putting up these YouTube lives. This week, I'm going to talk about healing your relationship with porn, which is a topic that I would say like every single guy I've ever worked with has asked me about. I've also created a completely free online experience called Porn, Pleasure, and Power. It is an online masturbation experience meant to shift your relationship with porn and help you to experience self-pleasure in ways that you may have never experienced before. So I will put that link below. You can find that link at my Instagram page. Again, that's at the.justina.victoria. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about healing your relationship with porn. Let's talk about the relationship that most men have with porn before they work with me. So typically, I would say the most common things that I hear from my guys is that porn makes them feel heavy, shameful, guilty. It makes them feel bad. It makes them feel gross. It makes them feel unhappy. Like when they get done masturbating, they feel disgusting. It doesn't fill their cup. It doesn't add anything to their life. And where does this come from? Why do so many guys feel this way? Why do so many men tell me the exact same thing? And I believe really it comes from our conditioning around self-pleasure. First of all, self-pleasure on both sides for men and women. We're taught from a young age that touching yourself, that masturbation is dirty, that it's sinful, that it is something that should be done behind closed doors, that no one else should know about it. Something that should be hidden, something that's just wrong in a lot of ways. And most of that really stems from religion, because before we had Christianity, most civilizations out there were pagan, and their views on sex were very different. They believed that sex was something that the gods wanted them to do. It was kind of like, something that was holy, that was sacred. And once Christianity came along, it changed a lot of our views on what's right and good in the world, and sex and masturbation, self-pleasure. Pleasure in general seems to be like a theme, especially like I grew up Catholic, and pleasure, like the denouncing of pleasure and happiness seems to be like a real theme in Catholicism. It's all about suffering. You should suffer and suffer and suffer, and then you'll go to heaven, and then you'll have pleasure there. But you're not going to have it here. So the sexual organs that God gave you, just throw them in the trash, because you don't have any reason to use them. So I really think that it originated with the invention of Christianity, I think. But when we kind of fast forward to our modern day, we have that kind of leftover, because I don't feel that religion is so massive as it was even just like 20 years ago. But we still have a lot of, I think we've softened a lot around sexuality in general, even in areas like I do a lot of work in Ireland as well. And sex is still an extremely taboo subject there, but it's not as taboo as it was 20 years ago. So we're making progress as we move through the timeline. But I think that in our modern world, porn itself has a stigma to it, that there's a lot of sort of, I don't know, like deep, dark internet stuff going on that's tied to it. right? There's a lot of perversion. There's a lot of kinky stuff. There's a lot of weird shit that people are like, is this right? Is this morally right? Should I be watching this? I don't really know. Right. So I think it kind of pokes at people's values. It pokes at people's morals. And when you're in a really turned on state, you're not really connecting with that stuff. So afterwards, you can kind of be like, what did I just do? So I think there's an element of that. But I also really, truly believe that we teach men, we teach boys that it's okay to jerk off. Nobody wants to hear about it. And like, it's okay. Like, we know you're going to do it because like you're sex crazed and you're like so horny hard all the time. So ridiculous. But like this is the message we get. It's like, we know you're going to do it and it's gross. And like your dick is gross and like your balls are gross and everything really about that whole thing is gross. So like you can joke about it, but like we're never going to have like a real conversation about what it means to self-pleasure in a way that regulates your nervous system, that fills your cup, that gives you a sense of well-being, because nobody's really talking about it. No one thinks that it really matters. And so what little boys are taught is that if you're going to jerk off, you jerk off to porn or you jerk off to a fantasy in your head. And there's so much more to it than just those two things. And I think guys get caught on a loop where they do the porn thing and then they do the fantasizing and it kind of gets old. And they like, we are beings of evolution. We are beings of progress and we need novelty. We need to learn new things all the time. So we kind of do the same thing over and over and over. We start reaching out to more novel experiences. So a lot of guys have told me like, oh, I would watch this certain thing and then it kind of escalated to this weird thing and then it escalated to that very fucking weird thing. And it's because that need to sort of evolve and grow is always going to be there, but guys don't know how to sort of evolve and grow their self-pleasuring practice. So I think that this relationship that most guys have with porn is this weird combination of like our society saying it's gross and weird and like you can do it, but just like don't tell us about it. And like we're not gonna like talk to you about doing it in healthy ways. And then also like old religious stuff that still comes through our society and our culture. And then also just like guys still needing to evolve, still needing to like move up the food chain, but they're not able to do that. And they don't know how to do that. So what we're left with is this really sad self-pleasuring practice, which like feels good in like the 30 seconds right before you orgasm. And then afterwards just deflates your whole existence because you just feel gross. It doesn't feel aligned. It doesn't feel like it's something that is nurturing you in any way or giving you any sense of fulfillment or satisfaction. So I think like the way that it might influence or the way it does influence the guys that I work with or have worked with around this issue is that it causes them typically, the common thing that I hear is this thread of this feeling of being numbed out. I think that the relationship to porn in this way is very disconnecting and very numbing. And a lot of guys who I've worked with around this who are in relationship and have this relationship to porn on the side, really be able to connect to their partner, know their own pleasure, not be able to like fully regulate their nervous system, not allow them to feel good about themselves, not allow them to like step deeply into their masculine energy. So it has a lot of different effects. Even with my guys who don't have relationship, it sort of takes something, if that makes sense. It takes something versus giving something, and self-pleasuring is meant to give something, like we have this button that God gave us that we're meant to push, which is orgasm, because it releases this cocktail of beautiful chemicals into our bodies, oxytocin, dopamine. These chemicals actually regulate our nervous systems and cause our levels of stress to come down so that our immune systems function properly, our digestive system functions properly, our reproductive system. All of these systems go on low power mode when we're in the stress response. So what harm can it be causing, and will it cause, harm in the long term, this relationship, this sort of toxic relationship to porn, or this unhealthy or what's the word for, like, just, it doesn't create a sense of well-being, this kind of relationship with porn. I think in the long term, it's not like this relationship doesn't cause any kind of permanent harm or permanent damage to a man. And that's something that most guys think, like, I'm stuck like this. It's like, no, our brains, our nervous systems are plastic. So we can start shaping our relationship to self-pleasure and porn in a different way and feel completely different, feel like full and rich and fulfilled and satisfied and regulated after watching porn, after self-pleasuring. So it's not something that's like permanent. So I would say if it is causing some kind of harm, I would say it's like a self-harm, because really, like, it's getting you further away. This relationship specifically is getting you further away from the whole point. And the whole point is to experience well-being. The whole point is to feel fulfilled and satisfied and confident and connected to yourself and to other people. And so if the relationship with porn that you have now is making you feel numb and disconnected from yourself, from your body, your pleasure, your partner, and it's not helping to regulate your nervous system, which is what it's meant for, then that would really be the harm that it's like causing. And it's not a permanent or a long-term thing that will stay with you forever. So how does it affect the way that guys approach dating or show up in their current relationships? I've already kind of answered this. But yeah, I guess in dating, it can also simply be like a lack of presence. So like women who are in their feminine really desire to experience a man in their presence. And what that means is that you're fully present with a woman. The only way you can be fully present with a woman is to be able to be in your body. If you're disconnected from your body, you're not going to be present with a woman. She's going to feel that, and her body's going to kind of like do this kind of thing. And we don't want that. So I would say if you're dating, you're having this kind of weird relationship to porn, it's going to affect your ability to date in that way. It's going to probably affect your sex life as well. We know, like what I said before about, if you're in a relationship, it can be affecting you in ways that you're, again, not present, not connecting to your body, not connecting to your partner's body, or like regular sex, like baseline sex is just not enough to get you hard, not enough to get you turned on and excited, because you need higher and higher and higher levels of dopamine because of the stuff that you're watching online. Dating is just simply the same, I would say. It could be hard to be turned on. It could be, and it could actually also have an effect where a lot of the guys who come to me around this as well, they feel like they can watch a lot of porn, but then they go and try to have sex with somebody, and it's like they have what they call porn-induced ED. And that's just another one of these fake terms that I just think are toxic to, and there's perspectives that keep a man limited. There's no such thing, just FYI. What you would be experiencing is dysregulation from the amount of porn that you're watching and the belief systems wrapped around them, and anxiety. So anxiety and dysregulation are the same thing. Your body's producing stress hormones. You go into a sexual experience and you're literally in the stress response. You cannot have sex in the stress response. Your dick's not going to get hard. If it does, it's going to be not very hard. You're going to be in your head. You're not going to be in your body, and it's going to be very stressful. So porn-induced ED comes in like all kinds of forms, but really it's just dysregulation. You're just becoming so dysregulated from the type of porn that you're watching and how often you're watching it that it is now having a physiological effect on your body. Again, not permanent, something I work with all the time, and it's like super easy to shift. So what does healing this relationship with porn look like? Well, what it looks like is learning some new things. Typically, what I go through with my guys is a bit of upgrade in education, in understanding how your nervous system works and what the whole point of self-pleasure is in the first place. The whole point of self-pleasure is to regulate your body, to experience a sense of well-being, fill your cup, to feel like orgasm is medicine for your mind, your body, your soul, your like everything. And if you're not feeling that way, and if porn itself is not the relationship you have with porn, the belief systems you have tied around watching porn are not supporting you to thrive, then the way we heal that is by introducing things into your self-pleasuring practice that do. So in my porn pleasure and power online masturbation experience, what you'll learn in there is how your nervous system functions first and foremost, why it's important to know that so that you can regulate your nervous system and come out of the stress response, and how to self-pleasure in ways that cause more nervous system regulation, not more dysregulation, which is what you might be experiencing now. So this online masturbation experience, it's 4 parts, and it goes through all of that. It goes through all of what is needed to heal your relationship with porn, because I'm not a person who's going to tell you that you should never watch porn again. I think porn is fun. I think if it's something that you enjoy, you should be able to watch porn. But if it doesn't allow you to thrive, if the relationship you have with it is not doing its job, and its job is to regulate your nervous system, to add something to your life, to create a sense of well-being and fulfillment, then we have to shift that. Because if you're just going to keep doing that, then it doesn't give you anything. So this is a 4-part thing. I really love it. It's super fun. It's totally free, by the way. And it's all about learning how to self-pleasure in new ways and to new material and new content that is really creative, and it's different than what you probably have ever done before. It shifts the way that you perceive what self-pleasuring is. It gives it a purpose and a role, and it helps you to understand whether or not self-pleasuring is something that's going to regulate you in the moment, or it's going to dysregulate you in the moment, and what types of porn you should be watching for you. And like it goes through all this like really cool stuff. So it's a really fun little experience that I created online. And I can take you through, and like I said, it's totally free. It's just something that I created from the heart that I think every man could benefit from learning. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.